Have you ever been so wrongfully accused of something that you felt like the entire world was against you? Well, buckle up, because what happened to me at TechFlow Solutions in downtown Seattle will make your blood boil. I'm about to tell you how one malicious rumor cost me my dream job, my reputation, and nearly my sanity, until I walked into that exit interview with a folder full of screenshots that changed everything. Welcome to Dismissal Diaries, where we share the real, unfiltered stories of workplace betrayal, corporate corruption, and the sweet taste of justice. If you're here, you probably know what it feels like to be wronged at work. Hit that subscribe button because you're going to want to hear every single story we have to tell. Let me paint you a picture of where this all began. It was a crisp Tuesday morning in October, and I was walking into the sleek glass building of TechFlow Solutions, coffee in hand, ready to tackle another day as a senior software developer. I had been with the company for 3 years, consistently receiving excellent performance reviews, leading successful projects, and mentoring junior developers. Life was good. Or so I thought. The office had that typical tech startup vibe. Exposed brick walls, standing desks, a ping-pong table that nobody actually used during work hours, and enough energy drinks to power a small city. Our team of 12 developers worked in an open floor plan, which I always thought fostered collaboration and camaraderie. Little did I know, it also fostered something much more sinister: workplace gossip and backstabbing politics. My manager, David Chen, was one of those guys who seemed genuinely invested in his team's success. He had promoted me twice in 3 years and often praised my work ethic during company meetings. Sarah Martinez, the HR director, was known for her strict but fair approach to workplace issues. And then there was Jessica Thompson, my coworker, someone I had considered a friend, someone I had helped land her current position when she was struggling to break into the tech industry. Everything started to unravel on that Tuesday when David called me into his office around 11 a.m. His usually warm demeanor was replaced by something I had never seen before: disappointment mixed with what looked like betrayal and genuine concern. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind us. The blinds were already drawn, which immediately set off alarm bells in my head. David was the type of manager who believed in transparency. Closed-door meetings were reserved for serious disciplinary matters. "Several employees have come forward with concerning allegations," he began, his voice measured and professional. "They claim you've been accessing confidential client data without authorization and potentially sharing it with competitors." My heart stopped. The words hit me like a freight train, and for a moment I couldn't even process what he was saying. "David, that's absolutely ridiculous. I would never—" "I know this is shocking," he interrupted, "but we have to take these allegations seriously. We're going to need to conduct a full investigation. In the meantime, you're suspended pending the outcome." The room felt like it was spinning. 3 years of dedication, countless late nights debugging code, weekends spent on critical deployments, all of it suddenly felt meaningless. "Who made these allegations?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "I can't disclose that information right now, but I want you to know that this decision wasn't made lightly. Please gather your personal items. Security will escort you out." Walking back to my desk felt like a death march. Every pair of eyes in the office seemed to be watching me, whispering, judging. Jessica looked up from her computer as I approached my workstation, and I swear I saw something flash across her face. Was it guilt? Satisfaction? I couldn't tell, but something felt fundamentally off about her expression. As I packed my personal items into a cardboard box, my mind raced through every interaction I'd had with client data. Yes, I had access to confidential information. That was part of my job as a senior developer. But share it with competitors? The accusation was so outlandish that I almost laughed, except nothing about this situation was funny. The security guard? Mike, who I had exchanged friendly banter with for 3 years, now looked at me like I was a common criminal. "Sorry about this, man," he muttered as he walked me to the elevator. Even Mike believed I was guilty. The next 2 weeks were the darkest of my professional life. I reached out to former colleagues, but many of them had already heard rumors about my situation. Some believed me, others seemed skeptical, and a few completely ghosted me. The tech community in Seattle is smaller than you'd think, and word travels fast through professional networks. I hired an employment lawyer, Patricia Williams, who specialized in wrongful termination cases. "These allegations are serious," she told me during our first meeting in her downtown office. "Corporate espionage can result in criminal charges, not just termination. We need to prove your innocence beyond any shadow of doubt." Nan, that's when I decided to do something that would either save my career or destroy what was left of it. I was going to find out who was behind these allegations and why they wanted to destroy me. I started by analyzing every interaction I'd had at work over the past few months. I went through my email archives, Slack conversations, and even social media interactions with coworkers. What I found shocked me to my core. It started with small things I had initially dismissed. 3 months earlier, Jessica had asked me unusually specific questions about our client database structure. "I'm trying to understand how the data flows work," she had said. Being a helpful colleague, I had explained our system architecture in detail. 2 months ago, she had requested access to client files for what she claimed was a cross-departmental project. I had helped her submit the proper access request forms, thinking nothing of it at the time. 6 weeks ago, she had asked if I could show her how to generate client reports for her own learning. Again, I had been happy to help a colleague grow their technical skills, but the real smoking gun came when I remembered something that had seemed innocent at the time. Jessica had borrowed my laptop for 15 minutes 3 weeks ago because hers was acting up, and she needed to quickly respond to an urgent email. I had logged her into a guest account, but what if she had done something else during those 15 minutes? I immediately contacted my friend Marcus, who worked in cybersecurity, and asked him to help me analyze my laptop's activity logs. What we found was devastating, and not in the way I expected. "Look at this," Marcus said, pointing at his screen during our coffee shop meeting in Capitol Hill. 3 weeks ago, someone accessed your corporate VPN from your laptop and downloaded several client files. But here's the interesting part. The files were accessed during your lunch break, when your badge shows you were in the building cafeteria. My blood ran cold. "Jessica," I whispered. "There's more," Marcus continued. The files were immediately uploaded to a personal cloud storage account. And get this, the IP address traces back to a coffee shop in Bellevue, not your home or the office. We spent the next week building an airtight case. Marcus helped me gather digital forensics evidence, while I documented every suspicious interaction I could remember. I reached out to other coworkers and discovered that Jessica had been asking multiple people unusual questions about client data and company procedures. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source, Jessica herself. I remembered that our company Slack had a feature that saved all direct messages, even deleted ones, for compliance purposes. I submitted a formal request to IT for my own message history, which was within my rights as an employee, even a suspended one. What I found in those messages was a goldmine of evidence. Jessica had sent me dozens of messages over the past few months, fishing for information about clients, asking about security protocols, and even requesting access to systems she had no business accessing. But the most shocking discovery was a message thread I had completely forgotten about. 2 months ago, Jessica had sent me a screenshot of what appeared to be a job offer from one of our biggest competitors, asking for my advice about whether she should take it. "I'm worried they might want me to share information about TechFlow's clients," she had written. "What do you think I should do?" At the time, I had advised her to be ethical and only share information that was publicly available. But now, looking at this conversation with fresh eyes, I realized she wasn't asking for ethical guidance. She was testing the waters to see if I would be complicit in corporate espionage. When I showed this evidence to Patricia, my lawyer, her eyes lit up. "This is exactly what we need," she said. "This shows premeditation and a clear attempt to frame you for her own actions." The company called me 2 weeks later to schedule the exit interview. They had concluded their investigation and were proceeding with termination. Sarah from HR was professional but cold when she called. "We'll need you to come in Monday at 10 a.m. for your exit interview," she said. "Please bring any company property you might still have." "I'll be there," I replied. "And Sarah? I'll be bringing some additional materials that I think you'll find very interesting." That weekend, I prepared my evidence like I was preparing for the trial of the century. I printed out screenshots, organized timelines, and created a presentation that would make any prosecutor proud. Patricia reviewed everything and gave me her blessing. "You've got a strong case," she said. "But remember, the goal here isn't just to clear your name. It's to expose the real perpetrator and prevent this from happening to someone else." Monday morning arrived, and I walked back into that glass building for what I thought would be the last time. But instead of the cardboard box of shame, I carried a leather portfolio filled with evidence that would change everything. The exit interview was held in the same conference room where I had received my last promotion. Sarah was there with David and, surprisingly, the company's legal counsel, Robert Kim. The presence of a lawyer told me they were taking this seriously, probably because they were worried about a wrongful termination lawsuit. "Thank you for coming in," Sarah began, her tone professional but guarded. "We wanted to conduct this exit interview to discuss the circumstances of your termination and ensure a smooth transition." "Before we begin," I interrupted, opening my portfolio, "I have some information that I believe will be relevant to this discussion." David looked uncomfortable. "We've already concluded our investigation." "Have you?" I asked, sliding the first set of screenshots across the table. "Because I don't think you investigated the right person." For the next hour, I methodically presented my evidence. I showed them the digital forensics, proving that my laptop had been compromised. I displayed the Slack messages showing Jessica's suspicious questioning patterns. I revealed the timeline of her requests for access to sensitive information. But the moment that broke the case wide open was when I showed them the screenshot of Jessica's message about the competitor's job offer. Robert, the lawyer, leaned forward. "Do you have the original of this message?" "I have the original Slack thread, and IT can verify its authenticity," I replied. "But there's more." I then revealed something I had discovered just 2 days earlier. Jessica had been sloppy with her LinkedIn activity. Her profile showed that she had started working for our competitor, Nexus Technologies, just 1 week after I was suspended. The timeline was too convenient to be a coincidence. "She used my laptop to steal client data, then accused me of the very crime she committed," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "She knew that as a senior developer, I had access to sensitive information, making me the perfect scapegoat." The room fell silent. David's face had gone pale, and Sarah was frantically taking notes. Robert was already on his phone, presumably calling someone about the legal implications. "We'll need to verify all of this information," Sarah finally said, but her tone had completely changed. The coldness was gone, replaced by what sounded like panic. "I've already verified it," I replied. "My lawyer has copies of everything, and we're prepared to take this to court if necessary. But I'd prefer to resolve this internally, assuming the company is willing to do the right thing." What happened next exceeded my wildest expectations. Within 24 hours, the company had launched a full investigation into Jessica's activities. They discovered that she had indeed stolen confidential client information and was now working for Nexus Technologies, likely having sold our trade secrets to secure her position. Jessica was immediately terminated from Nexus, and the company filed criminal charges against her for corporate espionage. Our legal team also discovered that she had attempted to steal information from 2 other companies during her career, using similar tactics. But the vindication didn't end there. TechFlow offered me my job back with a promotion to lead developer, a significant salary increase, and a formal apology that was distributed company-wide. They also implemented new security protocols to prevent similar incidents in the future. David personally called me to apologize. "I should have questioned the allegations more thoroughly," he said. "Your track record spoke for itself, and I failed to consider that when making the decision to suspend you." Sarah from HR was equally apologetic. "We've learned valuable lessons from this incident," she told me. "We're revising our investigation procedures to ensure that accusations are properly vetted before any employment actions are taken." But perhaps the most satisfying moment came 3 months later when I received a LinkedIn message from a former colleague at Nexus Technologies. "I just wanted to thank you," the message read. "Jessica tried to pull the same scam here with another coworker, but because your case had made the news in tech circles, we recognized the pattern immediately. You probably saved someone else's career." Looking back on this experience, I learned several crucial lessons that I wish I could share with every working professional. First, document everything. And I mean absolutely everything. Those Slack messages and email trails were what ultimately saved me from career destruction. Screenshots, timestamps, email headers, even casual conversations should be noted down somewhere. Second, never underestimate the power of malicious colleagues. People you trust, people you've helped, people you consider friends can sometimes become your biggest threats when their own interests are at stake. Third, always fight for your reputation, even when the odds seem stacked against you and the entire world appears to doubt your integrity. The tech industry is built on trust and reputation, 2 fragile commodities that take years to establish and maintain. When someone tries to destroy those things with calculated false accusations, they're not just attacking your current job or your monthly paycheck. They're systematically attacking your entire future, your ability to provide for your family, and your professional legacy. But with the right evidence, unwavering determination, and strategic thinking, the truth will always find a way to surface and vindicate the innocent. Jessica's scheme was sophisticated, but it wasn't perfect. She had underestimated my attention to detail and my willingness to fight back. She had also overestimated her ability to cover her tracks in our increasingly digital workplace. 6 months after the incident, I was promoted again, this time to Senior Technical Architect. I now lead a team of 15 developers, and ironically, one of my key responsibilities is mentoring junior employees about professional ethics and workplace security. I've also become an advocate for employees who face false accusations at work. Through my experience, I've learned that companies often take the path of least resistance when dealing with allegations, which can result in innocent people losing their jobs. But with proper documentation and legal support, these injustices can be overturned. The most important lesson I learned is that your reputation is your most valuable professional asset. It takes years to build and can be destroyed in minutes by a malicious rumor. But if you're innocent and you have the evidence to prove it, never give up fighting for the truth. TechFlow Solutions has since become one of the most respected employers in Seattle's tech scene, partly because of how they handled the aftermath of this incident. They publicly acknowledged their mistakes, implemented better processes, and showed that they were willing to admit when they were wrong. As for Jessica, last I heard, she was facing criminal charges in 2 states and had been blacklisted from most major tech companies. Her scheme had ultimately backfired in the most spectacular way possible. The irony wasn't lost on me that someone who had tried to destroy my career with false accusations had ended up destroying her own career with real crimes. Justice, it seemed, had a sense of humor. This experience taught me that workplace injustice is more common than we'd like to admit, but it also showed me that the truth has a way of surfacing when you're willing to fight for it with everything you've got. If this story resonated with you, or if you have your own tale of workplace betrayal and corporate misconduct, I want to hear from you. Subscribe to Dismissal Diaries for more real stories of corporate corruption, workplace revenge, and the sweet satisfaction of justice served. Because sometimes, the best revenge is simply telling the truth. Hit that subscribe button, and let's continue exposing the realities of toxic workplaces together. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.